Welcome, everyone, to That Kind of Nerds podcast, a weekly show where we tell you what is going on in the nerdy world. I am CJ Mellon, joined, of course, by Josh Burns and special guest Craig Newcomb, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for having me.
Unfortunately, Brian will not be on this episode. He was using MapQuest to get the coordinates to his palatial estate's recording studio, and he got lost. I'm worried that he was eaten by the cats. I also had the distinct honor of welcoming all of you listeners to our 2-year anniversary.
Yay!
What? If you didn't get us anything, it's just very simple. We were just asking for one thing only. If you could go ahead and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, that's all we ask. So the internet was kind to us with some fantastic topics for this week, and I'm very excited to hear some of your reactions. But the thing I want to start open with is there's a trailer for a documentary. It's I Am Heath Ledger. If you're familiar with some of the Spike originals, there was the I Am Chris Farley one as well, which was I still have a hard time watching that. But the Heath Ledger one looks like it's going to be such a different take and such a different way of telling a story, because apparently Heath Ledger always had a camera or a camcorder or just some way to capture a moment and to be present with the camera. So it's going to be a lot of footage of him and a lot of behind the scenes and really getting to understand the man. So I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about this trailer and what this documentary is going to turn into.
The trailer was good. I just obviously it's a Spike thing, and you're making a documentary about a guy that obviously died too young and everybody loved, but I feel like from the trailer I'm getting all of Heath Ledger sort of at the beginning of his career and none of it around the time of his death. And that's what concerns me, is that I don't feel like I'm going to hear anything about the downward spiral, which, you know, you mentioned the Chris Farley thing, and that whole thing was about his downward spiral, and it was very informative and made you feel for the guy and the people that loved him. The Heath Ledger trailer, it's clear people love him, right? His smile's infectious and he's an artist. You just take one look. He's a guy, that's a guy I want to hang out with, right? But that's great. I just don't understand why he died. And if this thing doesn't give me any inclination, right? I'm not going to be happy about it. The trailer was great.
So is it a matter of fact that his downward spiral wasn't documented? And how quick did that happen? Was it the Joker character that put him into that downward spiral and it just wasn't documented? Because he could have found drugs at 27 and died at 28.
Right.
And I mean, Farley, his drug abuse was well documented.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And look, my issue isn't with the source material. Like, I want to know more about Heath Ledger. Tons of admiration for him as an actor, and I mean, just not a role he's done that I haven't loved. So it's more about, I feel like everything about Heath Ledger is just everything, and you know, like this documentary is showing, like we seem to know a lot about him coming up, but then once he achieves stardom, we know nothing.
I'm really interested, actually, Josh, on the early stuff. I don't really want to know the downward spiral part. I think you're going to hear from people involved in his life that could gather what they could. But the fact was, you know, there was no warning sign. There really, just like Craig said, there was no document. There was no red flags, really, that this was happening. So,
but if he always had a camera, there has to be footage.
And I
want that footage.
I think part of your downward spiral is things that interest you no longer do, and maybe holding a camera and documenting what to you is a dark time in your life is a good reason not to have a camera.
Did you notice during the trailer? I don't think they show any of the Joker, any of that.
They don't.
Okay.
It's not that up to date. That's my problem with it. It looks like I'm gonna watch it for sure, but I don't think it's going to tell me what I want to know.
Yeah, I agree. If it's all bubblegum, I'm not interested. If it's 10 Things I Hate About You, it's not going to hold my interest.
Hey. Don't you ever badmouth 10 Things I Hate About You.
I really enjoy the movie. I'm not badmouthing the movie.
And it's certainly not Heath Ledger's role. I mean, that was it. Like, that was the movie.
That was the movie. If it wasn't for
forward,
Heath Ledger.
everywhere I see your name, I'm watching. You know why? Because you're awesome.
Yeah, but it was a bubblegum movie.
you're a bubblegum movie.
I love the movie. I'm
amazing
not down.
and
it's a
coming
great
of age,
movie.
and
It was Shakespeare. It was Taming of the Shrew.
look at dude.
Not even loosely. It was Taming of the
and
Shrew.
it wasn't like I didn't do a single tear cry. I did like a full on weepy blubber, like
Ugly face crying.
Look what he did. No, it was amazing.
I wasn't bad mouthing the movie. Wasn't.
I took it as bad mouth.
Look, the movie should have got a goddamn Oscar for as far as I'm concerned.
On this podcast, them's fighting words.
You want a movie we can mock and that we can fight? Freaking Michael Bay has alleged that there are 14 written Transformers movies ready to go. Whenever we need one, we can just throw out a Transformers script and ta-da, we can have 14 more movies.
You know, that'll mean 14 more movies in my iTunes collection.
Is Mark Wahlberg going to be in all 14 of them?
Holy shit, sign me up. You know what they could do? They could get me in cheaper than Wahlberg? Channing Tatum, John Cena, and The Rock. Holy sweet mother.
Are you recasting the
Give me Transformers movies with John Cena and The Rock.
What is Channing Tatum worth in a movie versus Mark Wahlberg now? Like, have they caught up?
No.
Well, but with Gambit coming out, the Channing Tatum stock is gonna go
but
up.
he's not, like, has he crested 20 million?
I think he will with Gambit.
Because I think
so?
they're very similar in the fact that they both do comedy really well and they do action very well.
Well,
Yeah,
wait,
but
what was
Channing
Magic
Tatum
Mike?
is
What did
still-
Magic Mike net? Yeah,
Channing
I mean, you don't
Tatum
want
is
to.
he's still a pretty young man, right?
Yes.
Like Mark Wahlberg has passed that, right?
But Mark Wahlberg's interest right now is to make disaster movies.
right. But see, here's the thing: Channing Tatum can't play the father of a teenager.
True.
He can't do it.
But he
right?
would be the
So
guy in the army. That's all he would do.
Which is
Which is G.I. Joe, which is what he is in G.I. Joe.
But he can't be Duke again, and he can't be Josh Duhamel in Transformers.
Right.
So he would either have to be the Mark Wahlberg character, or, like I said, you scrap Channing Tatum and you use John Cena.
I'll watch a John Cena Transformers movie. Absolutely.
Like John Cena could do that. He could do that. Absolutely, he could do that. Gimme.
But-
right now, give me all 14 right now. Right? Find a cute, quirky young kid, reboot Sam Witwicky. Fine. All fine. Give me more Transformer movies.
So what would
please.
it cost to make all 14 back to back?
I don't know how much dynamite is, so that kind of blows off my whole.
It will cost approximately 1/10 of what they make. Figure that math out and apply it in perpetuity. Because Transformer movies are gold, right? They may be shitty, but you're still watching them because they're entertaining as hell. And in syndication, on networks.
Yeah, they're on TBS every weekend.
Forever. Transformers all the time, because you can sit your kids in front of it and know there's not going to be any profanity, but it's live action. Go nuts.
So you think there's a need for 14 more?
Dude, I think there's a need for 1,400 more. Can we have more
God.
Transformers? Like, give me. I think everybody should be making. I think every studio should have an obligation to make one Transformers movie every 2 weeks.
You just turn them out that quickly.
Churn them out.
I don't think they have
Pretend
land
like
to
they're
support
American
that.
Horror Stories. Just make a new one every 6 seconds.
Go big. But and all right.
How do you deal with the explosions?
All right, fair enough. I was being ridiculous. Not every 2 weeks. Like, if they could do it every quarter, that would be fine. Once a quarter, every studio churns out a Transformer.
The sick part is it would make money, and you're right, and that's.
I'll buy them for $9.99 on iTunes every single time.
But you're not going to the theater to see them.
Well, probably, unless they have Mark Wahlberg, right? But at that rate, you're not going to get.
So hold on. I have a question. Let's go back here. Why can't we make it a show? Why can't we make it a 12-episode show?
Hashtag Michael Bay.
It wouldn't. Yeah, you wouldn't get Michael Bay.
Why not?
It wouldn't be as big. Right, which is why it can't happen.
If you say you're going to make a Transformers television show, people are going to be like, okay, I hope you're animating that and bringing that back. And then
that's not going to happen.
You're in this, it doesn't measure up to the animated series before, and then we all just get
obviously
mad.
all this is hyperbole, right? But as often as they want to release a Transformers movie, I'm interested in purchasing.
I can't believe that's
Amazon. They got money. They just need to hire Michael Bay, bring him on staff.
Yeah,
Amazon.
Michael Bay's cheap. Yeah.
So, speaking of movies, though, that we could just make a million of and I'd be okay with, last week during CinemaCon, we got confirmation on Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
Yeah, man.
That apparently resurrects Colin Firth's character and welcomes Channing Tatum, sir, to the cast of Kingsman. As well as a whole bunch. I don't know how you resurrect Colin Firth's character from that movie, but sure, absolutely. I don't care. Whatever you want to write it. Whatever mystery machine he's invented,
he got shot in the head, right? It wasn't subtle.
Yeah. So I'm quite okay with
I have
with
concerns.
having him back. What are your concerns? This movie's fantastic. Shut up and take my money.
And Jeff,
now you see me
Jeff
too.
Bridges.
Now you see me too.
Okay, hold on.
Julianne Moore, Jeff Bridges, Elton John, Halle Berry, and Channing Tatum.
Now you see me too.
Which Elton John? Like what?
Gimme. And you know what? Now You See Me Too was fucking fantastic. So give me this too.
I disagree.
I loved Now You See Me Too.
Now You See Me Too was awesome.
Yeah, make more of those movies too.
Yeah.
I didn't expect anything of Now You See Me. I thought it was going to be terrible, and it was awesome. And I didn't expect anything of The Kingsman, and it was probably the best movie I saw that year, but I didn't like the second Now You See Me. I didn't.
Well, that's crazy talk. First and foremost, that's crazy.
I'm a crazy person.
But next, like there's like good star power, but there's not like a lot of big star power. So this is good. And the first one, the story, I think took us in a direction we weren't expecting, which was good. I think there'll be more of that. I think they're very creative. Resurrect, maybe, but maybe not. I don't
care how it happens. Just
give me something. This was
whatever.
Excellent. The first one was excellent. Like Colin Firth doing the action thing, I'm behind.
Yeah.
This is good. I like this.
And it's going to be coming out September 29th of this year, guys. It's happening like just a few months. You're going to have Kingsman 2.
You really think this is going to be good without Valentine?
What do you mean? You mean Sam Jackson?
Yeah.
What do they need him for? They get another villain.
His character was so perfect, though.
No. You need to think of this. You need to think of this like Mission Impossible.
Yes.
You get a different villain every time. This is Mission Impossible, and it's fantastic.
I want to be wrong. I've never wanted to be so wrong about a movie.
No, you can be and are wrong.
I hope I am. I really do.
See, what I like about nuances of movies, right, is that we can distinguish what's a good movie, what's a bad movie with this detail. But you know what you can't do anymore? Do any of this nuancing on Netflix.
Because it's either you love it or you hate it.
This is what I fucking hate.
And I've openly stated, I am absolutely a polarizing individual. I don't ever want anybody to be meh about me. Like, love me, hate me, fine either way, right? This thumbs up, thumbs down shit, I'm pretty sure I'm on record a few episodes ago saying it gives me agita. Like, I get super anxiety about definitively saying I love or hate this thing because it's subjective, isn't it? We're all subject to our own moods and whatnot. And there's some days where I'm like, you know what I want to do? I want to listen to the Hamilton soundtrack all day today.
Right.
And there's some days where I'm like, I load up the Chronic and I drive.
I have a question for you specifically. You're an avid Amazon user, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Do you read reviews on Amazon?
I look at stars if I'm choosing between products.
Okay.
And
if you're reading
maybe
the review,
I read reviews, yes.
Do you read the 3 or the 2 or the 4? No, you read the 1s and you read the 5s.
I love reading the 3s.
Really?
I read the 3s.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
every single product. I want to know if they're overreacting or if it's the product that's the problem.
I read the 3s because they tell me, like, I got this and I liked it, but this thing I didn't like.
Yeah.
And so what I find are common threads, right? Like, I'm going to buy this. You know what? The last place that I did was I was comparing coffee grinders. I was looking for a good burr grinder, but an automated one. And so I was comparing like 7 different ones, right? And the ones that gave me problems with consistency or grind size, things like that, and you won't get those on the 5s or the 1s. You'll get, This was fantastic, or I fucking hate it, it doesn't work.
There's nothing
That's
in
all
between.
you get.
Yeah.
But in the 3s, you get all that detail. It's so good.
I read the 1 stars more for comic relief, like you're an idiot.
Sure, the 1 stars, right? Yeah, the 1 stars are
But
like,
that's
you know
what the
what?
thumbs down
it
is,
came
right?
and I opened the box and a gerbil came out and went up my nose and it crawled down my throat and then I shit it out and then it crawled out of the toilet.
Yeah.
Like
This banana
that's-
slicer
that's-
broke up my family and caused me to get a divorce. Like that's the kind of stuff you like.
Right.
Yeah.
This fleshlight ate me. is what you hear.
Wait, was that review on YouTube Red?
Could you please not read my reviews for products?
on Red-
okay?
it was
on
on
the air, I
RedTube.
just find it annoying.
It was on RedTube, and there was a lot of hope in there, and that's where it came from.
Anyway, but there's movies where just like, listen, I sat through the whole movie, right? I watched it. Okay, I didn't turn it off in the middle of it. I wouldn't watch it again, and I don't want to see other movies like it. So
That's the thumbs down?
do I give it a thumbs down? That's my question. Do I
You're
thumbs down
killing
it? Do
me
I thumbs
because
up it?
you just. But the thing is, you said I don't want to watch other movies like it.
Right. I liked
Okay.
this movie. This movie was a movie. I could sit through it. I watched it, but I would
Okay.
not be like, oh, please show me more of this.
Other movies like it. Let me give you this example. Right. So the movie, The Last Boy Scout. What do you think of The Last Boy Scout?
It's a good movie, but again, I'm terrified of the gate that would open if I give it a thumbs up.
And that's that's my point, right? I love The Last Boy Scout. I will watch it. Like, if it pops up on my Netflix thing, I go, oh shit, The Last Boy Scout. It's been a long time since I watched that. That doesn't mean I like every Steven Seagal movie.
Correct.
Right? Okay, but it doesn't mean, here's the thing. If I thumbs down The Last Boy Scout, I may never see it again.
Yeah, we'll never.
I mean, I may literally never see it again.
Yep.
And I can't live with that choice.
Correct.
So
I can't do
I'm
it.
against the thumbs up, thumbs down system with Netflix. I'm just trying to understand their logic behind
You
it.
have to be as crazy as people like CJ and myself. You have to be.
Hold on, I have to ask a question though. What's the last mediocre movie you saw?
Ghost in the Shell.
Okay. If I asked you, CJ, should I watch
Sorry,
this
guys.
movie? What would you say?
No.
Okay.
I don't think you should.
So that's a thumbs down. But what would you give it?
Whoa. No.
Slow
Craig,
your roll.
you shouldn't watch that movie, but Brian should watch that movie.
Okay.
And I may want to watch something like it.
And Josh would want to know, listen, you may enjoy a section of this, but I think you would rather enjoy a movie that has a similarity to it rather than the actual film. There's nuance within film.
Like, Craig, did you see Olympus Has Fallen?
I did not.
Okay. All right. Really?
It's a great
No.
movie.
Oh,
It is a great movie. So
I may watch it this evening.
Olympus Has Fallen is a great movie, right?
Okay.
And then London Has Fallen.
I liked it.
It was god awful.
Oh, I liked it.
I will never watch London Has Fallen again, but I will watch Olympus Has Fallen.
I know
all
what
the
you're
goddamn
talking
time.
about. Yes, I did want to see that movie. And then when I saw the trailer for London Has Fallen, I'm like, fuck, that looks awful.
Right? There are people that will absolutely thumbs down Star Wars Episode 1.
Yeah. Me. I would
I
totally,
gotta tell ya.
totally thumbs down it.
If you're not recommending movies like Star Wars Episode 1, you know what's not showing up in my feed? Any other Star Wars movie.
And probably even Star Trek at that moment.
Right, that's a problem. Oh, man. With the I'm sorry. I have to. We're done with this topic now. The Star Trek, the bad lip reading by Mark Hamill.
Oh, yes.
And you have Adam Driver doing the
finger
and he goes,
puppets?
I'm a Vulcan, right?
Yeah.
Han Solo that's a whole different thing, dude. I was losing my shit. If you haven't seen this, everyone needs to go watch the bad lip reading of The Force Awakens done by Mark Hamill. And you will not be able to look. You'll have to knock on your neighbor's door. And have you seen my shit? I lost my shit.
I'm
Is
trying
it
to
here?
locate it.
I'm
I will
attempting to
have it in the
locate my
show
shit
notes for you. Don't worry
right
about it.
now. I showed it to Christian. He lost his shit. Couldn't find it for an hour.
He's a young guy to be losing his shit.
Lost his shit. Lost it completely. But he kept repeating about the kissy bits in the middle there. Like the guy, oh my God. It was so good. It was so good.
Joshua Burns, we have talked extensively on this podcast about the wonderful British series Doctor Who.
Oh, yes.
But we've had a conundrum of how do I stream Who? How do I get started? And then all this back catalog that I have, I later want to explore after I'm current on the current series.
Sure.
What do? There's an answer now. Classic Doctor Who, right? All 26 seasons of Classic Who, except for a couple of the lost episodes because the BBC doesn't know how to keep an archive, are now on a new streaming service called BritBox, which not only gives you Doctor Who, it gives you a whole bunch of BBC and ITV content, and it is fantastically low priced at $7 a month.
Old Top Gear. Is Old Top Gear there?
Old Top Gear should be on there.
Because I was not interested, and then you said old BBC, and I'm like, ooh, I love Old Top Gear.
I am looking for you right now.
If it's not there, this sucks.
For $7 a month, the back catalog for Doctor Who, if I was going to watch it, seems reasonable. But the old BBC programming, a lot of that is good. I don't often go back and watch old Doctor Who because it's so campy.
I mean, I can't. If you're a Whovian and you've watched New Who, you haven't seen any of the classic stuff, go explore Tom Baker as the Fourth Doctor. You'll see such influence with him with other Doctors, and he's a great way to meet Sarah Jane Smith for the first time, and it seriously, you need to watch Tom Baker as the Fourth Doctor.
Totally fair statement. I agree. And when I do go back, it's Tom Baker that I watch.
Well, like the seventh and the sixth Doctor are really good too. I mean, there's other good old Doctors, and I'm not saying you should watch their entire arc, but I mean, you should at least pepper in the first time that the Cybermen are unleashed upon you, or the first time that you see a Dalek, and just really kind of get some of these old episodes under your belt.
Yeah, I agree. It's worth a weekend that you've got nothing better to do. Absolutely.
Craig, I'm looking, right, and I'm not seeing Top Gear, but I'm checking one more spot. Craig?
Yes.
I don't think Top Gear's on this, man.
It's BBC's most popular show. Hold on. At one point, Top Gear was the most watched show in the world. Not the most watched car show in the world, the most watched show in the world.
And I think the BBC wants you to watch the BBC and not license out that program to a third party. Because this is not run by the BBC. This is a third party collecting as much data as they can. And British television being public and blah, 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 blah. And there's probably a whole bunch of laws and shit about how you can do this. But listen, for $7 a month, get yourself caught up with some old British TV. It's good to have things like great comedy moments from page to screen and some old classic Doctor Who. So, I mean, there's enough in there to get a good value out of it, even just for maybe a few months. I'm not saying you keep it forever, but try it out and see what you can get out of it. Now, even though Brian isn't here right now, I still feel his presence.
Sure.
Because I think it's time for our favorite segment in memoriam of Brian not being here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Cape Talk.
Cape Talk.
If you are following Hey Did You See, our other podcast, we are currently talking about Iron Fist right now. And on this podcast, we talked about Daredevil, Jessica Jones, we talked about Luke Cage. But we are finally getting some confirmation. We're getting some information on the Defenders, the culmination of their entire Netflix Marvel universe. And we have a very unique trailer, which had the release date hidden very well. Josh, can you kind of just walk me through what the heck this trailer was?
Well, you have the Defenders in an elevator, and you have Jessica Jones destroy the security camera in the elevator.
My favorite bit about this is that Matt Murdock, Daredevil, is wearing a suit
and a mask
and just like a rag over his head, pulled over as a mask. Not even the old like vigilante mask. It looks like just a spare T-shirt.
It was totally improvised.
And Finn Jones is also just looking like he is not having any of this. Like, what the hell did I get myself dragged into?
I've decided, as spite for Brian, I'm going to watch Luke Cage next. Going to go out of order.
That's a mistake. That is a mistake.
You're doing everything wrong.
You need to watch Daredevil season 1 first, right? And then
can I watch Daredevil season 2 first?
No,
smack him
Daredevil
right
season 1, then Jessica Jones. Okay, then you can watch Luke Cage, and then or Daredevil season 2. Either way is fine. But Daredevil season 1, Jessica Jones. Daredevil season 2, then Luke Cage.
So I've made the
Yes.
commitment after watching Iron Fist. I am going to watch all these shows. I'm more interested in Luke Cage based on your recommendation.
I get it, but I was just talking about the music.
Yeah,
It is not-
the music is great, but the
it is
show,
not nearly as good a show as Daredevil.
yeah,
Like there are shows on HBO that aren't as good as Daredevil.
Really?
yes,
Yes.
really.
Yes.
All right.
Daredevil is fantastic. Not for me, it wasn't episode 1, but it was shortly after that. For Brian and CJ, maybe it was episode 1. It wasn't that. It was
episode 1.
but it was great from the beginning. But it went from great to legendary, like fast.
That good, huh?
It was
Seriously.
as good as House of Cards. It was you know what I mean? Like it left you wanting more. Think about House of Cards season 1. Look, man, I look forward to that. Obviously, I binge watch it, right? But like I look forward to that coming back like Game of Thrones.
So hold on.
Like,
If I was to stop
the
this
rest
podcast right now, walk downstairs, put on Daredevil.
I wouldn't be angry.
Obviously, I haven't finished Iron Fist.
You'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd be fine.
All right.
Absolutely fine.
I've watched Daredevil seasons 1 and 2 because I can't watch ahead on Iron Fist.
Okay.
I also completed Jessica Jones, and I'm about to start Luke Cage.
All right. I'm going to do it.
You have to do it. Look, Netflix has done an amazing job, right? Overall with this universe. And it makes sense to me that they've got a flagship and then they've got all these supporting shows. Daredevil is clearly the draw, but Daredevil is also really good. Like he's a decent team player, even though he's, very much, a quiet person. Like Matt Murdock always has a surrounding cast, as you would expect a blind person to have, which is the reason he keeps getting away with being Daredevil, right? You need a flagship, and Daredevil is as good a flagship show as any network could have.
So I have another question then. I'm not a superhero guy. I'm not a comic guy. Cape Talk, I was like, whatever, I'm here. But super universe world, is Netflix doing it the best?
Yeah, because they're rooting it in reality, right? They're really taking it as like, listen, this is in a small, section of New York. It's not the whole world. It's just a small area. A bunch of stuff is happening, but it's rooted in reality. It's not crazy far fetched. There's no one from another dimension. I mean, like it's
because there's 3 superhero universes happening right now with DC, Marvel, like with the movies. And then
there's more than that. Sadly,
It's all very separate. You don't want to get into how. So I will take the Marvel Cinematic Universe is amazing. So there's no I'm not ever gonna put this up there with that because it's not. But as an extension of it, it works really, really well. Like they mention the incident, the big green guy, things like that in the Netflix universe, without ever having any actual crossover, and it works so well.
And Craig, in your case too, not even seeing some of those movies, you're not missing out on anything. You're not an outsider on it.
Right.
So you're perfectly fine to do that. And we learned that The Defenders, right, is going to be out and available on Netflix in its entirety on August 18th of 2017, and that was actually revealed on the timestamp on the far right-hand corner.
It's
of
awesome.
the
That's
trailer.
pretty cool.
Trailer was great, and man, I mean, we're talking about like 4 months, dude. Like,
Yeah, it's coming up.
solid. That's solid.
Yeah, but that gives me 4 months to get through all of them.
You're gonna be fine,
halfway
man.
through Iron Fist, but I like
mean,
when that's
first thing-
happening.
First thing I got to say is you were one of our early listeners, so I kind of feel like this is your own fucking fault. Like, you've had 2 fucking years to figure this
Yeah,
shit
but I've
out.
always been kind of
2 years, brother.
I've always been
and
not a comic guy.
I remember a couple years ago sitting at a bar, drinking some beers with you, just having a conversation. First time you and I met, and it was really. It was just like honestly, listener, Craig and I bonded over hoity-toity beer and a cheese plate. I shit you not. That's how it happened, and we talked about food for 2 hours. He was a listener, and we talked about food and beer and bullshit. You had 2 years, brother, to figure this shit out, and you didn't, and it's on you.
Yeah, I assume responsibility.
So the next 4 months, you got to get caught up.
So you have until mid-August.
Yeah, but I'm never going to get caught up on the movies. I've never watched the movies.
Plenty of time.
But the shows on Netflix,
I can blow through a series in a week.
Yeah, this series, the shows on Netflix, but the movies, I'm never gonna catch up.
Listen, you don't need the movies. We don't need the movies.
Totally
I know,
separate.
but I'm saying, as a listener, I'm never gonna watch those movies. I'm committed to the Netflix series. Though,
don't care. World. You don't need to know the movies to know.
I think that's a ridiculous position to take, but okay. All right. I mean, I'll bite. You're into the Netflix thing. Stick to the Netflix thing. Fine, but that's ridiculous.
Look, I still never seen Star Wars. That's ridiculous. I get it.
You need to never say that out loud. I thought we had an agreement that there would be. You wouldn't say that combination of words in a sentence.
I just love your reaction every time I say it.
Well, I can't because it's either I talk nonstop and berate you, or I will vomit.
I'm always curious of the result, though. That's why I say it.
It's like saying, "Oh, I hate bacon." Sorry, I'll never eat bacon.
Yeah, I like turkey bacon rather than a pork bacon.
You know, Craig, the worst possible steak you can ever eat is a tomahawk steak.
Yeah, that's just who would want that?
I know you're dying inside a little, which is what happens every time you badmouth Star Wars by saying you haven't seen it.
Hold on, I've never badmouthed Star Wars. That's the same thing. No,
not seeing it is badmouthing it.
Yes, confirmed.
Okay,
100%. So the fact that you two bonded for 2 hours over cheese and beer has led me to our next topic. I like to scour the internet, just find some random things and get the tech perspective on it. And with Craig, I figured we'd take it to the next level and include a little alcohol in the mix as well. There are people waiting hours to get into a Super Mario themed bar. It is a pop-up bar. That is actually going to be still up and running until April 15th. So just a few more days, listener. But it is the Cherry Blossom pub that has transformed itself into a Super Mario bar. What do you guys think about this?
I mean, do they have Tito's?
Yeah, but you don't have to wait 3 hours to get Tito's. This is a stupid fucking idea. It's awful. It's a fucking gimmick. And you know what? I'm all for gimmicks when it involves alcohol because it sells beer. Most craft beer revolves around a gimmick. This is just fucking stupid that people lined up to get into this. It's dumb.
I think it's about the nostalgia, the Super Mario, and if it's, cool and there's Super Mario shit around and it's whatever, okay.
Yeah, but I'm not waiting 3 hours to get in. If it was a bar that I could just walk in and have a beer, sure, cool. Why not?
I just want to drink. That's why I'm at a bar. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Right? But
I'm not waiting in line to get into a bar.
But as a theme, it's cool. Like when I first read the thing about a Super Mario bar, I thought that'd be a cool place, like a dive bar type of deal, right? But then you said it's a pop-up, and I'm like, ugh, that's awful.
Yeah. No.
That's an awful idea, right? If it were like just some dive bar, like a corner of an alley buried somewhere.
You have to take a mushroom to get in.
Look, if I'm walking around San Francisco and I dart down an alley and in the back of the alley, and I darted down there because I thought I saw some flashing lights, and I go down there and it turns out to be the Super Mario bar, like I'm hanging out, right? Because that's going to be a cool spot. But like as a pop-up where people chase it around, and it's got like a Twitter feed, I don't have any interest in that. No.
And the fact that there's a line to get in, just...
Oh, I'm certainly not standing in line.
Brian and I, if this opened up right by us, would just be sitting in line like idiots to pay $9 to get a stupid Mario drink. Like, what's happening.
No, you can't buy... No, don't buy the Mario cocktails, man. Jesus.
Oh, yes. Oh, no, I'm getting...
No, they're nothing but mixers. It's an ounce and a half of booze and a bunch of mixers.
Yep,
Stop it.
You are the reason this keeps happening. There will be more pop-ups because of you and Brian.
Because you know that I'm going to brag to somebody that I got the drink called It's a Me, a Mario. Like,
he's got to have the Princess Peach Martini right now.
And I got to get a press start A.
And it's a Bloody Mary with a fancy name.
None of this is okay.
A shitty Bloody Mary with a different name. That's what it is.
Like, I'm okay with the concept as a dive bar.
Yeah, if you open a bar and you committed to this for life, like this was your concept of a bar and you just opened with it, awesome. Good job. I love it.
And you know what? I think if you were in Seattle, if you were in Cleveland, if you were in Orlando type of deal, right? You'd probably do pretty well. But like, you can't do a pop-up and get anybody's respect. I don't think you can. Like, not this way.
I don't know what to tell you. This is something I would totally go to. I'm sorry.
That's crazy.
I'm the reason America is on a downward spiral.
You would go, but look, if you would go to it, but if you lived in the neighborhood where they pop up, how happy are you that they're there?
No, and even more, think about the guy that this is his normal watering hole, and this is where he likes to go and drink and have and then all of a sudden the owners are like, you know what? I'm going to turn this into a pop-up, and now I've got to wait 3 hours to get into my. I'm never going back.
So pissed off.
Never going back. When it's over, I'm like, fuck that place. I'm never going back. I'm finding a new place to drink that will not turn into a pop-up.
Yeah, man.
Nerds just ruining everything.
When I was a kid, living in an apartment, there was that neighborhood bar, right? If that happened there and I couldn't get my shot in a beer in a timely manner,
yeah,
like I'd be angry, super angry. And Craig's right. I'd find a different neighborhood bar, and in places that could handle a pop-up.
Before I even sat down at the bar,
that's gonna happen.
I would find the owner and say, "Would you ever turn this into a pop-up?" And if he said, "What's a pop-up?" I said, "All right, cool. I'm sitting down and having a drink." That would be the latency test if he didn't know what a pop-up was.
Well, the other thing I would love to hear your perspective on, gentlemen, is a lovely smartwatch that came onto the Kickstarter market. Now, listen, if you've listened to the show, right, you know that I am a Pebble user currently. Actually,
unfortunately, yeah,
love my Pebble, and then I had an Apple Watch for 13 days and returned it and went back to my Pebble. And Josh's rebuttal to, "Hey, would you ever consider a Pebble?" is, "Oh, I'm sorry, is it an Apple Watch?" To which the answer is no, and Josh says,
if it's not an Apple Watch, I don't care. Right? I don't even care about smartwatch, right? It works on iOS. That's what I care about. I don't care about it integrating into something else. Does it have like Watch OS? Does it work hand in hand with iOS, Mac OS? No, I don't want it.
So you know that I have a soft spot for gadgets that are like this, right?
You sure do.
But along comes...
But that doesn't make you a better person.
Along comes a product called the Game Band, which is the first smartwatch for gamers. And the Kickstarter lover in me, the nerd who likes the offset gadgets, is sitting at this going, what in the actual fuck are you doing? This smartwatch is loaded with basically a small emulator that you can plug into a computer to play games on your computer because you've connected it to your watch.
Fucking retarded.
Wait. Slow down. The watch has...
Don't try to understand. It's dumb.
Has mini games built into the face, right? So you're sitting there on the subway. You're sitting there on the train. You're playing Pong, right? You're playing you're playing some Atari games, right? You're playing some mini games, essentially. But then you get to your computer and you're like, hey, you know what would be great? Instead of playing a really good video game that's brand new and that a lot of other people are playing, I should plug my watch into the computer and use it to play Tempest 2000.
How would you play the game on your MacBook? I see them plugging it in to the MacBook.
It's a jump drive with a file, essentially.
Yeah,
yep.
and that's cool. But like, how do I play them?
You have to download a third-party software onto your Mac that reads.
So you could have just downloaded the emulator.
Thank you. Or gone to a website that has it for free that you can play in a browser and not have to spend hundreds of dollars on a watch.
I don't like this at all.
Right.
This was good technology in 2001.
I award them no points, and may God have mercy on their souls.
In 2001, this would have sold.
Holy shit! Like there's, I swear to God, I'm looking at some propaganda ad that says this is the most powerful smartwatch on the market, final week, and it has, I swear to God, it has 3 logos: Game Band, Atari, and then Terraria. I'll say this: up until a few months ago, I had no idea what Terraria was, but my son at a local game store traded in some games. Oh, Terraria. I swear to God, I call it diarrhea, and it drives him crazy. Are you playing diarrhea? Terraria. I have no idea what that means. It sounds like diarrhea, and that's what I'm going to call it. That's the brand they chose for their ad, is my point.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is this product?
So this smartwatch has inside of it a Qualcomm.
Oh, it's a Qualcomm
Snapdragon Wear 2100.
Decent Snapdragon processor, yeah.
512 megabytes of RAM, right?
All good, yes.
Right. It's got an accelerometer, it's got Wi-Fi, a 400 milliamp battery, a micro SD card slot, and USB-C on it. It can get your push notifications. It can play your music, right, with the expandable SD drive.
It feels like Nokia built it.
It looks like Nokia
right,
built
because
it, too.
its hardware is so far ahead of everything else, and its software is such dog shit.
The bottom line is this. The target market that this is going after is gamers. And if gamers want to play a game, right, they don't want to do it on their watch, right? They have a portable handheld game system. And then if they're home, they're not plugging their watch into a computer to play an emulator. They're playing PlayStation. They're playing a console. They're playing PC gaming. They're playing things on a real system. They're not playing on a watch. I'm sorry, you tried so hard there, Game Band. It's not gonna happen. I'm so sorry. You're no Foldy mate. All right, you're no Foldy mate. Get out of here.
Don't invoke the Foldy mate name. You trashed it. Brian would be upset with you for even invoking the name.
They're no Fidget Cube, which I also railed against as being stupid, and then everyone bought.
As a matter of fact, we're going to give away a Fidget Cube, yeah?
Yes, we are.
We need listeners to tell us why they're why they're worthy of a Fidget Cube. And if you needed motivation, let me just for a moment demonstrate.
Yep, that's the
super satisfying clicking. Wait, there's also this turny dial.
We don't need that.
Let him go. Let it happen.
It turns. There's other clickies. There's spinnies. There's a little like safe cracker thing and like a rolly ball. Look, tell me why you're worthy of a Fidget Cube.
Josh, I heard the Fidget Cube, the build quality, not so good. What do you think?
False. Spectacular. Knockoff Fidget Cubes. They're calling themselves Fidget Cubes. They are not Fidget Cubes, and their build quality is dog shit.
So this is going to be an official Fidget Cube that you're winning. This is one that was from the Kickstarter edition. This is a 100% legit Fidget Cube that Josh is giving away to a worthy That Kind of Nerd listener. So go to thatkindofnerd.com. You will see a banner there for our Fidget Cube contest, but you can also go on social media and tell us why you are worthy of a Fidget Cube. A bunch of random things happening online again, and apparently I didn't even know this was still an issue. I don't know why this is an issue with anybody. Ask.com apparently was leaking all their searches. Apparently there was a problem with their whole program, and they were leaking their server log so everyone could see what you're searching. Let me ask a very important question. Who in the hell is still using ask.com?
I actually thought it was a spoof site that only appeared on Reddit just to make me laugh. Like, I didn't know.
So what, like 12 internet users were affected by this?
I think that is 11 too high.
Oh, that's excellent. And we're done with Ask.
Which you should have been. Bottom line.
Thank you for playing the game, Ask.com. We're out.
It's time for you to get down. But you know what? When it comes to random searches, Josh, Ask.com just doesn't have the marker cornered, all right? You came across a post on the Chive that has kind of like the ridiculous and the most random items that are popular by state.
There was I thought it was super random. And I like that they collect the data because I think it's fun sometimes, when you're in Google and you start typing a couple words and then it fills it in for you.
Autocompletes for you, yeah.
Autocomplete, not quite this. This is what people searched on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, guys, you both looked at this list, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will tell you that just like at first glance, right? There's sometimes words just jump out up to your face.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why would anyone ever Google onion goggles?
Did you not find it very, very stereotypical?
I found it accurate based on stereotypical information, but sometimes stereotypes are based on truth.
I guess based on the state, I guess I could infer some stereotypical type
like
stuff.
Texas has Daisy Duke shorts. Like, come on. Of course people in Texas are.
Let's look at states below the Mason-Dixon line and look at the redneck things being searched.
Yeah, but look out west.
I don't know, man.
Look at Nebraska. You got jorts,
Other than camo wedding dress in Georgia, I didn't have any problem with what was searched in Georgia, right? So, and below the Mason-Dixon line, if you're thinking stereotypical, Mississippi, right? Apple Watch, shake weight, hoverboard, right?
Those are, yeah.
So I'm curious, what's the first thing you guys do when you see a list like that? Do you go to your state?
Yes, always.
Yeah, first thing I do is go to my state. The next thing I think of, what do I search the most and where should I be living? And then I put in what I normally, have a query for.
I will tell you that I always do that, right? But when I did that on this list, I immediately went, mesh shirt? What the fuck?
Yeah. Pennsylvania mesh shirt.
Are you the younger brother from 51st Dates? Like, what are you doing with a mesh shirt? Who is looking for a mesh shirt in Pennsylvania?
Basics, bro. Basics.
That's what I want to know, right? Who on earth is doing that? And then obviously I go to places I frequent. But the fact that New Jersey is still searching for starter jackets is
a lot of states were searching for starter jackets.
Look, dude, I go to PA and then I go to Jersey, starter jacket, and they're looking for that original Eagles or New York Giants starter jacket. That's
what Flyers jacket did you have?
I didn't have a Flyers jacket.
All right, CJ?
I didn't have a starter's jacket.
I had a Washington Redskins starter jacket.
I was the third of four boys. I wasn't afforded the luxury of having a starter jacket.
He had whatever the guy before him.
Okay.
Was.
Yep.
This was solid. I recommend everybody check out the show notes and just go and see what your state is looking for.
I have a friend who lives in Illinois, and I saw that electric wine bottle opener was on there, and you know who you are, and I know that's you. And I'm very proud. Now that we've identified the quirky things that people search, right, and just how there's a few maniacs out there, they will never, ever live up to the people who apparently button their shirt from the bottom to the top. I had no idea that this was an issue that needed to be addressed on how do you button a dress shirt. But apparently there's people out there that button from the bottom to the top.
Well, right, but the article says if you button a dress shirt from top to bottom, you're a crazy person.
Right, which to me goes,
I read
what?
that and I went, what? Who does that? And immediately...
Wait, if it's a polo, if you button a polo...
No, this isn't talking about polos.
Yeah, but this dude... Because I thought about this long and hard all week.
I mean, maybe, but this guy, I'm telling you, I read this article, this guy's not talking about polos. He's talking about dress shirts, and I only know one person. And my 9-year-old son.
Oh, really?
Buttons bottom up. And you know what he does every fucking day of his life? Misses a goddamn button.
I brought this up at work. A coworker had presented this to me when, hey, he turned to the group of us and said, hey, how do you button a dress shirt? And I'm like, this is a very strange question. To which we all answered top to bottom like a normal person. And one guy was like, oh, no, I do it from the bottom up.
Why?
Okay, so this is what I asked him. And I said, hey, listen, Dan, his name is Dan. I'm going to give you the moment to defend yourself because you're going to get torn to shreds on my podcast. And I'm going to talk about you. So why on earth, all right, do you do this? And he starts with this. Well, let me ask you a question. What do you call that kind of shirt? Besides a dress shirt, what's the other name for it?
Button down.
You call it a button down?
Or Oxford, depending.
See, he called it a button up. And he's
it's
like,
not a button up. Nobody has ever called. No. Don't ever fucking say that shit again. Now. There's not a single person who's ever said, you know what I need? A good button-up shirt. Nobody said that. You know what they say? Guy goes to me, you know what I need? And I'm like, you need to button it the fuck up if you're going to say a button-up shirt.
I'm just saying. This is
holy shit.
This was his defense.
Hold on. I want to bring
what
up
do you
a point.
call when you're calling buttoning up? No. And then here's the logic behind his approach to this, right? When you start at the top, right? Do you button the top button of your dress shirt? right away when you
Not until I
start?
need to tie my tie.
Not until you need to tie your tie, right? So you start with the second button.
Right, like I was taught, like every young man was
So what happens is sometimes you go to, this is his logic, not mine. just
Nobody
for the
ever
record
does
reflected, that he sometimes will think he's got the second hole,
No.
right? And he's
No.
got the third. He gets down to
No.
the bottom, and hey,
No.
it's completely
Nope.
uneven.
Nope.
So he's saying, hey, this is a way to guarantee that you cannot miss a button because you start from the very last button and work your
That
way up.
only happens bottom to top. This is insane.
I can solve this right now, and we can go about insanity, and this will bring the insanity and wrap it up in a nice little bow. If you Google button-down shirts, you get long sleeve dress shirts. If you Google button-up shirts, you get short sleeve button-up shirts. And all I can think of is falling down.
You mean like polo shirts?
No, like falling down. Short sleeve shirt, dress
No,
shirts.
dude, no. Those aren't. Those are still buttoned down. There's any.
Hold
Oh
on. No,
my
no, no,
God.
no. Hear me out. Let me finish my thought. If you are willing to wear a short sleeve shirt that's with a tie, you are a psychopath.
You're also saying you're willing to murder a bunch of people
And that's why you would button it from the bottom to the top.
because you're a crazy person.
Exactly. If you Google button down shirt, they're all long sleeve.
So the article that CJ has that's in the show notes. It's actually a pretty well written article. But the guy describes. He says, you want to know how to get dressed? Fine, I'll teach everyone. Right, and he says 1, underpants. 2, socks. 3, button down. Buttoned from the bottom up, he says. It's not called a button down because you button it top to bottom. It's called a button down because you button the collar down of the shirt. So don't try any word tricks. This guy's a crazy person.
It's bottom line. If you button your shirt from the bottom to the top,
You're a crazy person.
crazy person.
My son does that shit. I don't understand.
You need to correct that behavior.
And you know what I asked? I asked my coworker Dan. I said, Dan, where did you learn to do this? And he goes, oh, I don't really know. It's just what I've always done. Well, does your dad or a brother or a family members, are they the ones who taught you to do it the way? No, I can't really recall. Don't think so. Just always button a shirt like that. I'm now worried for my safety.
Can you go
worried
back
for
to
my
him?
safety at work?
Go back to him and say, look, Dan, tomorrow, I want you to go tomorrow morning when you wake up and you put your shirt on. I want you to go top to bottom and report back.
I'll ask him. I'll ask him to do that.
So last week, we talked about the Spider-Man trailer, and I was very meh, right? And I told you that Christian was all about it, and your comment, CJ, was, well, then we need to get him to give us his opinion about it, right? And I told him that, and his face went wider than I've ever seen it, right? Right? Like, wait. They want to hear what I have to say? Yes, they want to hear what you have to say. Figure it out, right? Don't be stupid about it. Figure it out, right? Gather your thoughts and send CJ a recording. And he wrote it down and then he typed it out on Laura's MacBook, printed it and read it. And this was all him, like uncoached. My 9-year-old, who I couldn't possibly be more proud of, recorded this for us.
And he emailed it, if you want to do the same thing, to podcast@thatkindofnerd.com.
Hey guys, it's me, Christian Burns / Josh Burns Jr. I'm going to talk about Spider-Man Homecoming. First, they make the Vulture look way too powerful. I mean, Vulture doesn't have a tech suit. Secondly, hey Stark, thanks for being totally unreasonable about this suit. Peter is Spider-Man. The new Spider-Man is absolutely hilarious. If the superhero thing doesn't work out, he should become a comedian. Can't wait to see it. Have a happy 2-year podcast anniversary.
So I'm right on board with him. Stark, you're being melodramatic, you're being completely unreasonable. Give the boy a suit. He's earned it, all right? He was with you. He took down Ant-Man. Give him the damn suit. I always believe that Peter Parker, when he's in that Spider-Man outfit, has the wit of a stand-up comedian, but I don't know if Peter Parker himself can handle a career that way. When it comes to the Vulture and that tech suit, I'm going to have to defer to Brian Thornton for next week. So I will definitely ask you to tune in to see what Brian says really about how Vulture is. But I would also like to say, Christian, thank you for the well wishes for the 2-year anniversary as well. It means the world that you would leave us this message.
I'm proud of your boy.
Thank you, Craig. I am proud of him as well, and the kid demonstrates absolutely zero stage fright. As a matter of fact, it's becoming a growing concern that he has zero confidence issues whatsoever. Growing concern for me. Last week, we announced our upcoming slap bet. The countdown began, and we opened a GoFundMe for a limited edition That Kind of Nerd slap bet shirt. One of our longtime listeners and great friend of the podcast, Brian Roman, with a single donation, sponsored the limited edition slap shirt
in like 6 hours.
Yeah, it was obviously we have to thank you for that. So it was awesome, right? We had several other listeners reach out to say they wanted to sponsor. Many more folks contributed iTunes reviews, social media posts, wishing us a happy 2-year podcast anniversary, telling us exactly what That Kind of Nerd means to them. First, thank you all. And please, if you haven't reached out yet, we still want to hear from you. To those of you who wish to contribute to the slap event, I'm now calling it, you'll soon see a GoFundMe that will run until shortly before the event. And our goal is to fund a That Kind of Nerd slap party at a restaurant type establishment leading up to the slap and the movie Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet. So stay tuned for details. Check the site, thatkindofnerd.com/slap. Keep listening and continue to reach out. Thanks again, Brian Roman, for sponsoring the limited edition That Kind of Nerd slap shirt. And everyone, thanks for being the awesome nerds that you are.
Getting my face slapped in front of a live studio audience.
Oh, dude, it's going to be awesome. I'm telling you, I'm going to coordinate my buddy Andrew to come down with his fancy ass camera from Boston and do this whole shit.
I don't know if the fact that we had one person fund the entire thing in a few hours or the fact that more people want to help fund something. I don't know if that means that they like our show or they really hate me. I can't figure it out.
The answer to that question is yes.
I was to say, the question is, does it have to be one or the other?
It's yes.
As Josh said, from the entire That Kind of Nerd staff, thank you so much for 2 amazing years of this podcast. Next episode is our 100th episode. Just absolutely mind-boggling. We are so excited to bring this to you and the fact that you're listening. So again, thank you so much. It means the world to us. Thank you guys so much for making us your walk around your neighborhood or your drive to work 99 times. And we will see you next week for our 100th episode. Thank you so much for listening.
You know who else hasn't seen Star Wars, Craig? ISIS.
So I'm ISIS now.
That's how you know you haven't seen Star Wars.
You're doing everything wrong.
Fucking MK Ultra has seen Star Wars. He has seen it because he understands it's part of being an American. God.